Hey everyone, so I thought it would be fun to do a little flip through of my Hobonichi Cousin and show you guys how I used it throughout January. To be honest, there has been some struggles, so I wanted to share that with you guys, especially when I know some of us struggle with how to use different planners and we put pressure on ourselves to make it look as good as others. So I wanted to share a little bit about my journey because it's definitely been a challenge and a learning experience. So I'm in my Hobonichi Cousin A5 size. I'm in this glitter cover, which I get questions on all the time. It's from a notebook I got years and years ago, so I don't even think it's still available, but it just happened to fit my Hobonichi Cousin perfectly. So I have it in here. So the first section is my tracking section. And last time I showed you guys, I was doing some mood tracking here on the year overview, but I have moved that to my weekly planning. So I'll show you guys that later. But basically this is just for reference now. But the tracking I am doing on the year overview is here. So I'm tracking 5 things: health habit, which is listed up here. For January, it's no fast food, and then no spend. If I do any product promo, like on Instagram, any content on goal setting, and any vlogs, like simple Instagram stories, I wanted to try to start doing that more often. And so I've been tracking it throughout the month. I've done okay, but I want to keep going and keep improving these habits. As you can see here, the health habit for February is still no fast food because I did kind of I guess halfway good, but I want to keep working on that. So I'm continuing that into February. And then at the bottom, I was writing what books that I read for the month. And what's really handy about listing it here is I write a lot of notes on books on the daily pages back here. So this is an easy reference of, oh, I was reading the 5 a.m. Club. What month was that? And then I can go there and find the notes I took on that book. So that's my tracking. And then my next section is my monthly. So this is February, but this is how January went. I mentioned in my last video that this is more for the highlights of the month. So I start off really basic like this, where I just list out some birthdays, some holidays, travel. But then as the month goes on, I fill it out with other highlights, like my daughter's first sleepover, my daughter's first gymnastics class, even things like I had a bad day this day. And so I get to use more stickers, have a little bit more fun. I've been hoarding all these stickers from other shops like Sweet Freckled Plans, Coffee Monsters Co., Once More with Love, Clever Gal Crafts, and then the rest are stickers from our shop. So I used a full box to note these 2 weeks of January, and even prior we had huge storms here. I put these stickers down here, but I'm not sure what I'm going to use it for. I was just trying to fill up this sidebar, so that's a work in progress. My Simply Gilded Washi. So then here's my weekly, and let me go back to the beginning of January. So this is the first full week of January. A lot of it is blank because I was trying to figure out how I'm going to use this. I mentioned in my other video that my Hobonichi Cousin is mainly for playing, having fun, using stickers, and documenting. My main planner is still my personal size rings, and this is where I do a lot of my day-to-day planning, work stuff, getting things done. This planner is more for fun and documenting, so that's why there's a lot of blank space. I'm still trying to figure out how to use the weekly spread. So this is how I used it the first week. I was planning to use this as my schedule, and then down here for tasks. But then what I was finding is this bottom area was not enough space for all my tasks. So for the following week, I moved my tasks up here. So my usual work time is from 8 to 3 when I pick up the girls from school. I mean, I work other times of the day too, but that's the main big chunk of time. So I moved my tasks up here for work, and then a couple of tasks after I pick up the girls for personal stuff. And then down here, I use this for content, things I wanted to post for videos and Instagram and all that. In the sidebar, I did start tracking my sleep starting the first week of January. And then the second week of January, I added this little check checklist sticker where I was going to list my moods for the day and see if the amount of sleep I got affected my mood. So I was trying that out. As you can see, it's kind of like not consistent. Then the following week, I kind of kept the checklists up in the schedule of the day, but down here, I moved the content out because I was starting to use a different planner for my content. So down here, I was started using this for like any Happy Meal or orders I'm expecting. And again, I tracked my sleep. I did save a space for my mood, but I didn't put anything there. The following week, I still kept this bottom section for like mail, but as you can see, it's very underutilized. So the next week, which is this current week, I changed it up. But what I started doing up here is tracking my work tasks. So I always hear this around that it's good to sometimes track how much time it actually takes you to do different tasks. Because for example, in a day, I would schedule maybe 1, maybe 2 hours for admin, but a lot of times it would take me a lot longer than that. So I wasn't giving myself enough time to finish this task, and it would go past the time that I set aside for it, and then I would start feeling stressed and feel like I'm falling behind. So last week and then this week, I started tracking how much time it actually takes me to do these things. As you can see, me tracking my mood was just not working out. I think I'm going to change that. So this is the current week. I did try to track my moods, but again, I don't feel like this is very helpful to me at all. As you can see, I did try to track my work tasks. And then at the end of the day, I would list it down here how much time I actually spent on these different tasks. And then I think at the end of the week, I'll total up like, okay, on average, how much time did I spend on admin per day? So I would take the average of the whole week. And then I think when I create my ideal day, I could be more realistic on how much time these things take. So yeah, it's kind of messy, a lot of correction tape and whiteout just because I'm still trying to figure out how to use it without duplicating information. I don't like rewriting everything I wrote in here and just copying it over here. I feel like that's kind of a waste of my time. So I want this space to be purposeful. So that is my weekly. And then my daily, let me flip all the way to January 1st. So I shared a little bit of this already, but I'm going to flip through the entire month of January. The black sticky notes are just covering personal information. The daily pages are like my commonplace planner, catch-all for journaling, note-taking, brainstorming, memory keeping, and whatever I want. So let me just flip through here. Planner lineup, books I want to read this year, did some journaling. So what I really got in the habit of doing is splitting the page, and then in this section writing quotes and notes from the books I'm reading, and then on this section is a lot of journaling or memory keeping. Sometimes it changes, but that's really kind of the groove I've gotten into. So here's the 2 books I started reading in January, some journaling, here's some memory keeping. I use my Canon Ivy like mini photo printer for these photos, some more journaling and book stuff. And then like here, I watched this video and took notes on it. So I think starting around here, I started having a lot more blank space. That's one of the things I really wanted to talk about. One of my main challenges with this kind of like journaling / memory keeping section. Pretty much all of January has been really rough for me. So I started falling off a lot on my journaling and memory keeping. All these pages were completely blank. And what I was doing was going back and filling it in. And sometimes I didn't know what to write. And just because I felt this need to not have blank pages, to have every page filled in, I was kind of like forcing myself to journal something or to write something. And it felt very inauthentic. So even though I did that, I feel like going forward, I'm not going to do that. If I have a day where I can't write anything, then I'm going to leave it blank because I think that tells a story too. So what I ended up doing, like I said, was like kind of writing things in, forcing myself to think of things that happened that day, like back planning in a way. Something else I started doing, I was like flipping through a magazine. These images really spoke out to me because they were very blurry. That's how I feel right now. I feel like everything's a blur. And so So I cut out these images and I glued them on these pages, and I wrote some words along the side about how I'm feeling. And I really liked that, actually. That didn't feel as forced. I felt like it was a good visual of what I'm going through. So I did that on a few different pages. Excuse my drama, but you know, that's how it is sometimes. Some more journaling. Here I was writing like my thoughts after I finished the book, The 5 a.m. Club. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. And then this starts February. So those are just my 2 cents on memory keeping and journaling. I just kind of feel like we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to make it look as cute and as full and complete as what we see on social media. But it's okay to have blank pages and experiment and scribble and white out and be messy. I also wanted to share what pen I've been using. So I've been using the Pentel Energel, and it works pretty well. I like the darkness of the ink. I like how smooth it writes, and for the most part it doesn't smear, but I don't know if you guys noticed, it does smear a little bit. Even if I waited a few minutes, it would smear a little bit, but not too bad. So yeah, that's it. That's my flip through of my Hobonichi Cousin and how I used it in January. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Until next time, bye.